Inflatable fishing boats used to be the wobbly rubber thing you kept in the garage just in case. Those days are over. Today's models use high-pressure drop-stitch floors, multi-chamber safety systems, and military-grade fabrics that genuinely rival hard hulls. The category quietly took over angling, and now we have pack rafts you can hike into hidden alpine lakes, drift boats that pivot like ballerinas in fast water, and full-size dinghies that plane at 20 miles an hour with a real outboard. 7 boats today, each one the best at something specific. All the links are down in the description. Let's dive in. Kicking things off with the Sea Eagle 285 frameless pontoon boat. Because this is what happens when an engineer looks at a traditional aluminum frame pontoon and asks why the frame needs to exist. Turns out, it doesn't. 3 independent high-pressure air chambers form a wide U-hull that holds its shape beautifully, and the whole boat drafts only 4 inches of water. Picture pulling up to a remote Oregon river at dawn, popping the trunk of your sedan, and being on the water in 5 minutes, drifting past pools the hard-shell crowd can't reach because there's no boat ramp for 30 miles around. The hunter green finish kills glare so you don't spook fish, and the transom is shockingly sturdy for a frameless build, handling small gas outboards up to 6 horsepower. Premium pricing, and on busy lakes you'll feel every wake from passing powerboats. But for the angler who values portability, stealth, and serious shallow water access, the 285 is in a league of its own. If that price tag made you wince, the Heyboard 10-foot inflatable fishing boat brings the same drop-stitch floor magic at a price that almost feels suspicious. Built for 2 to 4 people instead of solo missions, the rigid floor lets you stand and cast confidently. Setup takes under 10 minutes, and 1 adult can carry it to the water without a trailer. With enough horsepower behind it, it nearly hits 16 miles per hour. The honest part, the included oars feel about as sturdy as breadsticks, and the cheap zinc hardware will start corroding the first time it meets salt water, so plan to upgrade those bits early. There's also a paperwork wrinkle, since some packages ship without the manufacturer's certificate of origin needed to register a motorized boat in many states, so check your local rules before committing. Treat it as a great hull with replaceable accessories and you'll get phenomenal value for weekend lake outings. For the angler who just wants to slip into a local pond after work without any boat ramp drama, the Intex Big Catch Pro reinvents the classic float tube in a clever way. The big game changer is the inclusion of real oar locks and 54-inch oars, which means you can finally row to your spot with your arms instead of kicking your legs raw with fins like the old-school tubes demand. The removable directional skeg keeps the boat tracking straight instead of spinning in circles. The elevated seat lifts you up out of the cold water for a better line of sight on weed beds, and the package comes loaded with rod holders, an insulated storage bag, and a built-in mesh ruler. All for what stays comfortably in budget territory. The realistic part, welded seams tend to develop pinhole leaks after about a season and a half of heavy use, and at 37 pounds, it's too heavy for any backcountry hiking dreams. Think of it less as a long-term investment and more as a fun entry point that pays for itself in 1 summer of pond hopping. Speaking of hiking, wait until you see this next one, because it changes the entire conversation. The Sea Eagle PF7 Packfish 7 is built for the angler whose paradise begins where the road ends, and it's almost unreal how much capability fits into such a tiny package. 22 pounds for the bare hull, 32 fully loaded with the wooden floorboard, seat, and oars. The whole rig packs down to the size of a camping cooler so you can strap it to a backpack, hike 5 miles into a hidden brook trout pond in remote Maine, and be casting before the sun clears the trees. Unlike a traditional float tube, this one keeps you completely dry and up out of the water. A massive safety upgrade in cold alpine lakes where hypothermia is a real concern. The dual-layer construction uses an inner bladder protected by heavy denier nylon and PVC-coated polyester, so brushing against submerged timber and rocky shorelines barely registers. Drop in the optional rigid floorboard, and it actually becomes a stand-up casting platform, which honestly feels like cheating. The trade-off is that it sits so high and light that strong crosswinds will push you around. But for the angler chasing wild trout in waters nobody else can reach, nothing else competes. Switching gears entirely, the Dama 10'8" inflatable fishing paddleboard runs a totally different philosophy. Forget speed, forget sleekness, this thing takes the paddleboard concept and turns it into a floating dock. 47 inches wide, roughly 50% broader than a standard board, and that extra real estate gives you stability beginners will appreciate from the first second they step on. The triple-chamber design adds safety redundancy and serious lateral stiffness, so the deck doesn't flex even when you step forward to fight a heavier fish. Here's a quietly brilliant comfort benefit though. Standing on an inflatable pump to full pressure is a bit like standing on a high-end anti-fatigue mat, and after 8 hours your knees and lower back will write you a thank you letter. Built-in rod holders, a fish finder bracket, and motor mount hooks let you customize it however you like, even bolting on a small electric trolling motor. The catch, and there's always a catch, is that pumping 3 big chambers up by hand is a serious cardio workout, so spring for an electric pump from day one and your shoulders will thank you. What if your problem isn't access or stability but pure open water performance? Enter the Newport 10-foot 6-inch inflatable dinghy, which is a completely different animal from everything we've covered. Instead of a drop-stitch floor, this boat uses an aluminum-framed marine wood floor with structural stringers which, combined with the deep V-hull and inflatable keel, gives you the wave-slicing ability of a proper hard boat. Rate it for a 15-horsepower outboard and the dinghy will plane cleanly and cruise sustainably between 15 and 20 miles per hour, with verified owners taking it as far as 10 miles offshore for pelagic species. The triple-layered 1100 denier PVC stands up beautifully to barnacle-crusted docks, and with a 5-person, 1,200-plus pound capacity, this is the boat for crab pots, scuba gear, or ferrying a family between the marina and the anchorage. The trade-off is setup time, since fitting those wood panels and stringers together is real work compared to unrolling a drop-stitch boat, and PVC doesn't love long-term sun exposure, so plan on covering it and applying UV protectant religiously. Treat it right, and it performs like a small sport boat at a fraction of the cost of a hard-hulled equivalent. Last up is the Sea Eagle Stealth Stalker STS-10, a true 2-person inflatable drift boat for moving water. 10 feet 1 inch, fully enclosed cockpit, 2 elevated swivel seats on 7-inch pedestals, and rigid sectional floorboards that weigh just 13 pounds but lock everything together so solidly that bracing your legs to fight a fish in heavy current feels rock solid underneath you. Field testers on pressured rivers like the South Holston rave about how responsive it is to back rowing strokes, letting you silently pivot into prime seams without spooking wary trout, and the dark green finish kills reflective flashes in gin-clear water. Pop one of the swivel seats off and the boat converts to a solo cargo hauler for multi-day camping trips. The hidden bonus nobody talks about. Sea Eagle's customer service is legendary in fishing circles, looking after owners well past the warranty window. So how do you actually choose? If you're a backcountry explorer chasing remote alpine waters, the PF7 Packfish 7 is in a class by itself. Urban anglers hitting local ponds on a tight budget will get the most features per dollar from the Intex Big Catch Pro. River fishing partners will fall in love with the Stealth Stalker STS-10, purpose-built for moving water and stealth in pressured trout streams. Need real offshore performance? The Newport dinghy is the only true sport tender on the list, ready to plane out and handle ocean chop. Solo anglers who want maximum versatility in shallow, rocky rivers should look hard at the Sea Eagle 285 frameless. Casual stand-up casters and families who value rock-solid stability will love the wide deck of the Dama paddleboard, and the Heyboard 10-foot is a phenomenal budget motorized platform once you upgrade the included oars and hardware. All the links are down in the description for whichever boat fits your style. If this helped narrow it down, hit like and drop a comment with the one you're leaning toward. Tight lines.